Imagine standing in the center of a pitch where the grass cost more than a skyscraper. Welcome to the dawn of 2026. For nearly a century, football has been the world's only universal language, a sanctuary for the dreamer and a home for the humble. We grew up believing that the World Cup was the one place where a heart full of passion was the only currency you needed. But as the sun rises over the sprawling horizons of North America, that beautiful illusion is shattering into 11 billion pieces. What if I told you that the stadium of the future is actually a fortress designed to keep the world out? We are approaching a tournament of giants, not just in stature, but in sheer, cold, financial might. We are talking about a spectacle so vast it spans 3 nations and 4,000 miles, yet so exclusive that a single seat at the final could cost you more than a brand new car. Is this a celebration of the sport, or is it the most sophisticated heist in the history of entertainment? We are about to pull back the curtain on a reality that is as breathtaking as it is brutal. Hello to all the football fanatics and truth seekers joining us today. Before we dive into the staggering secrets of the most expensive event ever staged, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Your support is the fuel that allows us to uncover these deep dive stories and keep the spirit of independent football analysis alive. Now, look at the world we are entering. To understand the gravity of 2026, we have to look at the machines being built to host it. These are not mere stadiums. Take the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, a $5 billion titanium cathedral buried 30 meters into the earth, just to bypass flight paths, featuring an infinity screen that holds more pixels than the human eye can process. It is a masterpiece of human ego. But there is a haunting question echoing through these hollowed halls of glass and steel. At what point does a ticket price stop being a cost and start becoming a gate? When the lowest tier of entry for a final hits $4,000 and the elite seats soar toward $9,000, we aren't just watching a game anymore. We are witnessing the birth of a new geopolitical code where the stadium is the throne room and the common fan is no longer invited to the feast. Before we move into the shocking breakdown of how these prices were manipulated behind the scenes, I want you to stop and think about the soul of this game. If you were forced to choose between the future of football, which path would you take? Please drop your answer, A or B, in the comments below. A. I would pay any price, no matter how high, to witness the pinnacle of human achievement and technology in person. B. I would rather preserve the humble, accessible soul of the game, even if it means we never see stadiums this grand again. Tell me your choice. Is it the spectacle or the soul? Your answer defines the future of the sport. To truly grasp the magnitude of the financial mountain we are climbing, we must look past the neon lights and into the cold, calculated heart of the ledger. The transition from the 1994 World Cup in the United States to the 2026 edition isn't just a change in era. It is a total structural mutation of value. Back then, a $25 ticket was an open invitation to the American public to discover a new passion. Today, after adjusting for 3 decades of inflation, that same invitation should cost roughly $55. Instead, the entry-level reality for 2026 has been set at $140, a staggering 300% surge beyond the reach of normal economic logic. This isn't just inflation. It is an intentional filtration of the fan base. The deeper we dig, the more the numbers begin to feel like a calculated deception. FIFA has heavily marketed a Category 4 ticket priced at a seemingly accessible $60, a move designed to shield the organization from accusations of elitism. But when you strip away the press releases and examine the seating charts of gargantuan arenas like Arrowhead or SoFi, the truth is laid bare. These $60 seats are a statistical ghost, representing less than 1% of the total capacity. They are tucked into the invisible corners of the upper tiers, where the players resemble ants, and the atmosphere of the pitch is a distant echo. It is a masterclass in performative inclusivity, offering a price point that exists on paper, but is virtually impossible for the average family to actually obtain. For the loyal supporters of nations like Mexico or Argentina, the journey has become a gauntlet of financial survival. To follow your team from the hallowed ground of the Azteca through to a potential final in New Jersey is no longer a matter of dedication. It is an investment of over $8,000 in ticket face value alone. We are talking about a sum that exceeds the annual per capita income in many of the participating nations. When you factor in the invisible costs, the 4,000-mile flights between time zones and hotel rooms that have spiked by 300% the moment the fixture list was finalized. The dream begins to look like a debt trap. This financial blueprint reveals a harsh geopolitical reality. The World Cup has moved from being a global festival of culture to a high-yield asset class. We are seeing a shift where the stadium is no longer a gathering place for the masses, but a gated community for the global 1%. The sheer scale of the United States as a host has been weaponized to maximize revenue, turning the logistical challenge of a continent-sized tournament into a justification for prices that would have been unthinkable just a decade ago. It leads us to a somber realization that in the pursuit of the most profitable event in history, the very people who gave the sport its heartbeat are being systematically priced out of their own history. Beyond the cold calculations of bank statements and ticket tiers, we must confront the most haunting question of all. What becomes of the soul of the game when the stadium gates transform into a filter for wealth? As we look toward the horizon of 2026, we are witnessing a profound collision between two worlds. On one side stands the undeniable triumph of progress, the creation of a legacy that will redefine North American sports for a century. The $11 billion in projected revenue is not just profit. It is a massive transfusion of capital into the infrastructure of 16 cities, building high-speed networks and transit systems that will remain long after the final whistle. This is the promise of the American dream applied to football, a force that will likely turn the United States into a global powerhouse of the sport, cementing it as a new religion in a land once indifferent to its charms. Yet, as we celebrate this architectural and economic conquest, we cannot ignore the deepening shadows left in its wake. There is a quiet, tragic erosion of the identity that made football the beautiful game. In the historic tunnels of the Estadio Azteca, where the ghosts of Pelé and Maradona still linger, the air used to belong to everyone. It was a place where a father could take his son to witness greatness without needing a secondary mortgage. But when the price of admission for a single match represents 200 days of labor for a local worker, the sanctuary has been desecrated. We are moving toward a future where the roar of the crowd is no longer a raw, democratic explosion of human emotion, but a curated soundscape of the elite. When a World Cup final becomes more expensive than the Super Bowl, we have effectively stripped the sport of its birthright, turning a global heritage into a luxury commodity. This is the ultimate paradox of 2026. We are building the most magnificent stages in human history, equipped with technology that borders on the miraculous. Yet we risk performing to an audience that has lost its connection to the streets where the game was born. The legacy of this tournament will be written in two different inks. One in the golden glow of record-breaking GDP growth and urban development, and the other in the faded memories of the millions who were forced to watch from the outside. We must ask ourselves if a stadium is truly a monument to greatness, if the very people who gave it life can no longer afford to walk through its doors. As the lights dim on our analysis, we are left to wonder if the 2026 World Cup will be remembered as the pinnacle of the sport's evolution, or as the moment it finally outgrew the people it was meant to inspire. The tragedy of the future may not be that we failed to build something grand, but that in our quest for perfection, we left the heart of the game behind. Ultimately, the 2026 World Cup forces us into a profound confrontation with our own values, standing at the crossroads where the immortal spirit of sport meets the unstoppable machinery of modern capitalism. This is the moment of reckoning for every fan who has ever shed a tear for a goal or found a second family in the stands. We are not just talking about a series of football matches. We are witnessing a global litmus test for the future of human culture. Will we accept a world where greatness is only visible to those who can afford the view? Or will we demand that the most sacred stages of our civilization remain open to the dreamers, the laborers, and the children who could kick tattered balls in the dust? The sheer scale of what is being built in North America is a testament to our ingenuity, but its exclusivity is a warning of our drift toward a fractured society where even our shared passions are segregated by net worth. As we look toward the final whistle in New Jersey, the true victory won't be found on the scoreboard or in the record-breaking revenue reports filed in Zurich. The real triumph will be measured by whether the game can survive its own success. If the 2026 World Cup leaves behind only empty luxury suites and a generation of fans who felt like strangers in their own cities, then no amount of technological wonder can mask the failure of its spirit. However, if this immense investment can somehow be bridged back to the people, if the wealth generated can truly nourish the grassroots and keep the gates ajar for the next generation, then perhaps the staggering price of admission will be a debt worth paying. We are the guardians of this game's legacy, and our voice is the only thing that can keep the soul of football from being sold to the highest bidder. In the final silence that follows the roar of the crowd and the flash of the cameras, we are left with a singular, haunting choice that will define our relationship with this sport forever. World Cup 2026 stands as a mirror reflecting the duality of our modern world, a breathtaking reach for the stars that risks forgetting the earth beneath its feet. It is a story of a continent redefining its identity through the lens of a ball. But it is also a cautionary tale of what happens when we mistake the price of a seat for the value of the experience. We must decide if we are willing to let the stadium become a gated sanctuary, or if we will fight to keep it as a town square for the world. The legacy of 2026 will not be found in the architecture of glass and steel, but in the hearts of those who still believe that the most beautiful moments in life cannot be bought or sold. As the lights dim on this exploration, power rests with you, the viewer, the fan, and the keeper of the flame. Your passion is the only currency that truly matters in the grand theater of football. If this journey into the depths of the 2026 World Cup has moved you, then you are already part of the resistance against the commercialization of our dreams. We invite you to carry this conversation forward, to question the structures built around our passions, and to never stop demanding a game that remains as inclusive as it is grand. Please subscribe and join our community as we continue to peel back the layers of the world's most captivating stories, ensuring that the voice of the true fan is never silenced by the noise of the market. Thank you for journeying through this complex landscape of shadows and light with us. Your engagement is what keeps these vital conversations alive. As we prepare for the most monumental event in sporting history, I invite you to stay curious, stay passionate, and above all, stay connected to the heart of the game. If this deep dive resonated with you, please consider sharing it with a fellow fan who believes that football belongs to us all. Don't forget to subscribe for more narrative explorations into the hidden forces shaping our world. We will see you in the next chapter of this unfolding story. Until then, keep the fire of the beautiful game burning bright. Before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought to carry into the night. When the first whistle blows in the Azteca and the world holds its breath, will you be looking at the glitz and the glamour, or will you be looking for the soul of the child who just wants to see their hero play? Thank you for your time, your intellect, and your unwavering love for the game. We will continue this dialogue in our next feature, but until then, remember that while they can set the price of the ticket, they can never own the way the game makes you feel. See you in the next video.